You've answered at least one question, which is
Start from the beginning for your tape.
okay. So what? Okay, for the beginning for the tape, just quickly, is that we're learning about the pasuk over here because I tell you, it's worthwhile having this on tape. The first thing that you have to know is that the pasuk of Gid Hanashe is out of order. The Al Kain Le'Yechlu Gid Hanashe should have been at the time, not after he gets better. Al Kain Le'Yechlu. That would be the right. If you would be writing the Torah, that's the right way of doing it. That's question number one. Question number two that we were bothered by was that it's the wrong piece. The piece that was meant to be was and then, do you know the Gid Hanashe has no taste? The Gid Hanashe has a zero. The Gid has a zero. The Gemara even talks about this. You do the Gemara in Chulin.
I don't know if it's edible. You can't chew it.
You can't chew it. You can't eat it. If you take out the Gid Hanashe, it would be the natural thing that you would anyway take out naturally. It would be the piece that is the tasteless. The Gemara talks about it. Whether
It's not being tasteless. I don't think you could cook it, right? Does it melt eventually?
Yeah, by the way, you eat a lot of Gid and you don't have it. You know, the white part sometimes, which you
Right, you would take a little
yeah,
bit.
you would eat it in small pieces, so it just goes in.
But naturally, if you have no butchers, you know what they're doing. They would just remove it.
Remove it, right. So the question that comes to place is, the part that you would think that we want to have as a memory's sake is not the part which is tasteless. It doesn't really give you a good memory by taking out the tasteless part. Take out the filet mignon, take out that part, which is the most, and then the last question is Moshe Feinstein's question, which is a fascinating question. And that is, we always have a memory of doing something. You know, on Pesach, we do a lot of things that are actions.
Not inaction.
Not inaction. Inaction does not show you, if I'm smoking, okay, and I stopped smoking, how do you know I stopped smoking? How do you know that I stopped smoking?
Why would you stop smoking?
Yeah, why would I stop? That's a good question. But just imagine I would. Question: how would you know I would? He's always how you would never know. I had to tell you. I have to tell you. By the way, I'm going around. I go around telling everybody. You know, I stopped smoking. You know, because every guy sees you. They say, okay, he's not smoking now, but he's probably smoking another time. You know, I'm just not seeing him smoking. But if I always saw him smoking, for the first week or two, I might go to the guy after 3 or 4 weeks and say, you know, I haven't seen you smoke a cigarette. The guy says, what do you mean I stopped 4 weeks ago or stopped 6 years ago? You know what I mean? But nobody even puts it into their head. The only way, in fact, the Dessler, the Leo Dessler, used to smoke. And when he heard it was wrong, in 1950s, he went and took a packet of cigarettes and he threw it away. When he heard it was wrong, he didn't know it was wrong. So when he heard it was wrong and there was a question about that it was unhealthy, he stopped it. And then he went around telling everybody, by the way, I stopped smoking. By the way, I stopped smoking. And every person he met, he said it was very easy after that. Because if you tell everybody, and you know this from Dessler, right? You're a Chosh guy, you can't make yourself. So the more he kept telling as many people as possible because he really wanted to make sure the message was across. But otherwise, you wouldn't know I stopped smoking. And he wanted people to know he stopped because it was unhealthy. And those were the years. So listen to this. So the kasha is Moshe's kasha. Moshe's kasha. Why is the minig of a lo yechlu? We should have a minig to eat the filet mignon and make a whole big event out of it. And I said, this is the place where they had a fight. But lo yechlu? That's the question that Moshe asks. Now we're going to see the Chinuch, although he doesn't ask any of these questions, will answer every one of those questions. But not only will he answer the questions, he's going to give you a whole new insight into the mitzvah. It's so beautiful that you'll never believe this mitzvah is to do with Mashiach. This mitzvah is a mitzvah purely about a Jew living in Golus and about Mashiach. Now, you ever thought of that? No, there's no way you could get that. But only if you're the chinuch, and only the chinuch can take something as boring as, I shouldn't say the word boring, but as not, it's not what we would daily think about, the animal in the form that we don't think about animals in our daily life. We don't think about how an animal, and yet this is something that you've got to be thinking about every single day, sort of. And I'll tell you how. Because let's read the chinuch. So let's start off with the chinuch question. Vayishlach Yaakov yesh bo mitzvahs lo yisaseh achas v'yazhar Gid Hanashe shenema akel leichlu meisal Gid Hanashe v'hai lo yichlu l'nema derech sipur We're going to learn two things today, but let's see if we can do this. This La Yechlu is not a story. It's not a story. So then, by our fathers, nimnim abonim milechel oisagid. No, el azhara Hashem Yisparach shlo yechlu. It's an azhara that we cannot eat from it. Now, mishar mitzvah. One of the reasons behind this mitzvah, kedei shetei remez li Yisrael. This is what the beauty of this mitzvah is, and the fact we are living through Golus. I'll speak it outside. We are going to be going to Golus. Yaakov is a simon of Golus. Yaakov is a Yid who goes down to Mitzrayim. Yaakov is a Yid who suffered a lot. I will tell you just a very interesting. I saw it yesterday, and I can't get it off my head. I think it's a beautiful Even Ezra. I saw it from one of these. Course, I had to look it up because I didn't believe it. And all the years, I've never heard this Even Ezra. Rabbi, you've got to hear this one. The name Yosef, Asav Hashem es Chepasi. Asav Hashem es Chepasi. So Rashi says on the word Asav Hashem es Chepasi, it's from the word Michzah, hidden. Hashem hid my that now I can hide my busha. When I drop a cup and I break it, I can blame it on the kids, and I have nobody to blame. Everything I did wrong in the house, the mess I left behind, and now I've got somebody to blame it on. Very unusual pshat. But the Even Ezra says unbelievable pshat. Asaf means to gather. Hashem gathered all my embarrassments. Listen to this. You're going to love this one. It's a chizuk, amazing. Hashem gathered all my embarrassments, because that's how I was able to get the kid. I needed to go through the matzav of embarrassments to be able to be, I'm an akara. I wasn't, so I had to, Hashem made me walk around, and she had a child, and she's talking about the kids talking, and the kids moving, and the kids doing this, and the way our women talk, and I had to listen to all that. And those pain is what Hashem gathered to help me have a child. So you hear this? The name Yosef is, Hashem gathered all my embarrassments. So listen carefully to what we're going to learn by Gid Hanasha. Gid Hanasha is going to be based on the same idea. No, it's a Yeshua of a person, our Golus. It comes via the pain. We need the pain. And in fact, again, Rav Pam learns on the words that, as Breshis Rabbah, in last week's Seder also, on the words, Vayizkar Elikim Esrachel, it says Elikim, Bedin. Says the Medrash, Bedin? What's the din? So it says the Medrash, because Hashem looked at the fact that she gave up her rights to her sister. She gave up rights to Yaakov, to his sister. She gave up her sister. Hashem said, Bedin, you're entitled to it now. Now, says Rapam, that sometimes the guy, she was an akara. Now, a whole new pshat in the whole reason why the whole story happened. She was given an opportunity that if she does this right, she's going to have a child. 14 years before. You do this chesed now, and you're going to get a child, bedin. You're going to win over the chesed. Hashem gives you opportunities in life. Do them as a chesed. Do that chesed, and it's going to help you when you need it in your din. When you're going to be having a thing that you don't have any children, says the Vayizka Lekim, Hashem was done her bedin, that she gave her, so Hashem gave her an opportunity 14 years before, and that was for her to have children. Again, the same idea, that everything we go through in life is opportunity to get, then offers Hashem's responsibility to give us the opportunity to get the rewards. So now let's learn over here about Gid Hanasha. Kedei shetei remez liYisrael, she'afal pi sheyispelu tzoros rabos begolus. We're going to be going through many difficulties in Golus. We go through, and miyad amim, miyad bnei Esav, she'betuchim shlo yevedu. You should have to know you're always going to be around. The Jewish people have I won't use the word because you don't know what the word is, tape. Yeah, I've got tape in my car. I've got one of those cars that have a tape deck of a guy, of Gabriel Sanders. You know what Gabriel Sanders is? Anyone know who Gabriel Sanders is?
It's a Rav, and was he here?
It could be a Rav. I'll tell you what he is.
Australia, some...
No, that's a different guy. This guy. He's a missionary guy who became a Jew.
Everybody hates mission.
Yeah, and he became a Jew and he works for Art Scroll. What? Okay, yeah, okay. I've got the tape if you want it in my car. And he's an amazing guy. And he explains that
So he's
one
doing
of the
different
things,
types of missionizing.
one of the things that he says is that he's going around the country explaining how he was trained and how he had a very troubled life. Amazing person. You want to listen to a tape of an amazing person, this guy Gabriel, I think. Amazing. He was mamish. He calls himself, I was a kid at risk for all goyim. You know, I went through all different drugs. In fact, my mother named me after a drugstore. You know, his English name was, there was a drugstore at the corner that his mother named him after. He said she must have had a divorce. Okay. Anyway, bottom line is he was on drugs and he was doing everything wrong, and he became a mamish. He works for Art Scroll and a rabbi. Okay, then Gabriel Sanders, you can find out about him, but I have his tape, and basically what he speaks out is what brought him to Yiddishkeit is a lot of things, but one of them that brought him to the eternity. He says, you know, you don't walk around and see any ancient Babylonians walking down the streets. You don't find ancient Greek walking down the streets. You don't find anything except for ancient Jews walking down the streets. It's amazing. These ancient Jews are still around. And to him, it was one of his, I mean, everybody speaks about it, but for him, it was a turning point. He says, it shows that...
There's still Greeks and Italians.
They're not.
There's no Roman Empire.
They're not ancient. No, they don't keep any of the ancient things.
Yeah, but you can say Christians are ancient.
Yeah, they're not.
No,
They're not.
maybe
no.
the Amish are ancient.
They don't keep.
Amish are ancient.
They don't try to
These are
keep.
the only ancient, because they keep
No.
changing their values.
Yeah, they keep changing values,
Yeah, they're
and even the
fine.
Amish change the values. It's not like it's not good enough. In other words, we are actually changing the externals of. You know, we still have the phones and we still have all things which Amish don't have. They stopped technology, but they didn't stop the idea of living in the world. We have a total disconnect to the world that we live in, and we can still have the same world, that we can be part of the world in one level and ruchnis in another level. That he couldn't get over. That we pass from father to son, and everything goes, and everything keeps on going backwards. We're the only nation that talks about that we're the oldest religion, you know, like, and everybody focuses on our religion. And it's funny that, well, I'm not going to do his shmooze, but then he says like this. So we have to betuchim, we have to know, shlo yivedu, we're never going to get destroyed. And this is what this mitzvah is. This mitzvah is to tell you that we're going to be an everlasting nation. We're going to be around until Mashiach. And further. Elolam yared zaram ushmam. The Jews will be, by the way, as you mentioned in the thing, you know that a third of people who have Nobel Peace Prizes are Jews. Jews are the most spoken about nation in the world. And hayem ezeh, and always was. The people look at the Jews as a light to the world. Whether they should, that's what they look at the Jews. Whether they act that way, it's a different story. But that's where Goyim look at us. The Yovei Goyim and the Mitzvah Mashiach will come, v'yigalem miyatzah, and will redeem us from the enemy. Ubezichram tamet inyan zeh. How are we meant to remember this on a daily basis? Ayidei mitzvah tehei lezikaron. This is going to be a mitzvah that you're going to always remember this point. We're going to be around forever, even though inquisitions, we're going to go through Holocaust, we're going to go through tremendous plundering and everything, but we as a nation will live through everything. And we're going to have a Mashiach. Yamdu be'emunasan, we will stand in our emunah, u'b'tzidkasan olam, we will falter, but we will never falter as a nation. People can falter, but not a nation. As a nation, we're still going to be always around. And that's for Hanukkah. ברמז זה הוא לפי שעושה מלך שנלחם עם יעקב אבינו שבא בקבלה שהיה שר של עשיו. That malach that we know was the son of Esav. We know that from all the stories that we had when we were kids, right? Then it says over here, Rotza la'akra Yaakov el olam, hu v'zarev le'ochalei. He tried very hard to destroy Yaakov, and he was not able to. But he was able to give him tsar, by touching him at that point. And this is where you're talking exactly right. He gave him tsar by touching that point. He gave him pain. Throughout generations, the Goyish people of Esav are going to be the ones who are going to give us the tsar in our
He gave
lives.
inside by touching the Gid Hanasha.
He touched the area in that area. Listen carefully. So listen to it. Tilam Yishumahem, Kamosha Batsina Ba'av, Shazar Chalai Hashemesh. So listen to this. He's learning a whole new pshat in the story. He says that the message is the sun coming up that's healing him. Al Kain La Yechlu. The Al Kain is to remember that the sun is coming up. So therefore, what we do is we eat a piece of meat without pain. The whole thing that we have to take out is the pain. The whole message is take out the pain and eat a piece of meat without pain. To remember that there's going to be a time when we're going to have no pain. So this is a whole new pshat. Al Kain Lechel. No, we don't eat. No. They're going to get the pain. We're taking out the pain. Yeah. But take out the pain to remember there's a time. But no. There was.
But you're saying the main thing is the pain.
The pain.
Which means we're still limited.
Yeah, but
No, that's after Zorach Hashemesh, after the got healed.
Got healed. We're trying to focus on and he got healed. Al Kain, we take out the pain after you're getting better. And this is the point. We should every single time eat a piece of meat. Listen to this story. Listen to amazing. Listen to this. It gets so exciting. It's unbelievable pshat. So every piece of meat that we're eating, we've got to remember there's no pain in this meat. We took out the pain. So listen carefully. I was going to answer every single question. It's unbelievable. Like we find with the Father, and he was saved from that pain. Look at these words. So look at this. You never heard this before. So also the son of Mashiach is going to come out. V'yipainu is going to heal us. Mitzareinu v'yigalenu. You hear this mitzvah? A whole new pshat of the mitzvah of Gid Hanasha. A most exciting pshat that you've never thought of. That is to do with Mashiach. A mitzvah to do with Mashiach, right? A mitzvah to do with every single time you're eating a piece of meat. However, every piece of barbecue, there's no pain in that meat. We took it out. To remember that there's going to be a time in Judaism when there's going to be Mashiach who's going to heal us from all our pain. Our pains will all be gone. And that's the message. Yeah, this amazing message of the words. It's such a, you got to it's worthwhile being born for such a pshat. It's like such an amazing pshat in the story. It's also because Shemesh HaMashiach. Like that's what it is. It's for your pain.
It gives me something.
But isn't that amazing? It's such a pshat. Kain Yizach Lonu. Yeah, how many times you find such a statement? Kain Yizach Lonu Shemesh HaMashiach. Right. Come on, you can't get better than that. You can't get those words. Amen. He says, Amen b'mehera b'yameinu. This is Amen. Okay, there you are. I was waiting for it. Okay. So anyway, that's the message. The message over here is a powerful message.
It takes all the pain and it gives you chizuk.
And it gives you pain. It gives you chizuk. The pain is out. And now let's go back to the questions.
I don't know about you.
Okay. There you are. And every pain has a pshat. As I told you, pshat, and the pshat, every pain is going to get you to the ultimate. It's all to get Mashiach. And get it into your head. Hashem gathered all the pain to be able to get. No, that was not my own. Eben Ezra. Can you imagine Eben Ezra? Sounds like Chassidus Rebbe, no?
Right.
That's the real Chassidus Rebbe style. Also, Hashem has chepasses. Ask them. What are you talking about? I'm gathering all the pain, and that's how I was able to have a child. And that's how we should know that when we go through pain, that's what the pain of Golus is all about. The pain of Golus is to be able to Nachanami is a good catch. This is amazing.
That's why the Gid Hanasha we're going to get. Why the Gid Hanasha? Why not the bone itself, the filet mignon, the bone? Because it's just the pain.
We're just taking out the pain. There's nothing about we're trying to remember. We got better. We're trying to remember we got better. That Al Kain Layochlu goes on Vayizach Hashemesh. That we got better. and we take out, and that's the way how he explains Pshat in the whole passage.
Because eventually we're
gonna get better.
Ace of Clubs.
It's powerful stuff. And now we end up with a little story. If we have a few minutes,
Yes.
there's a little story, and that is I always say I share this story because it's always one of my interesting stories, which you can't find in the Chullin book, but it's one of those stories. At one point in history, the exact identity of the Gid Hanasha kindled a heated controversy. Or controversy, okay, depending on where you're coming from. Rabbi Eibschitz narrates in his days, an expert menaker, menaker is a diviner, whatever, it means the spread.
Diviner?
It's called diviner. The guys who take out the, it's called, the English word for that is diviner.
Okay.
It's the guys who take out the Gid Hanasha.
Okay.
So the guys who were experts in this area, they were called the menaker, spread public declarations throughout the Jewish community in Germany that the accepted practice of removing the sciatic nerve is incorrect. The Gid Hanasha is in fact a totally different nerve. One that can be only found in male animals. In other words, he said there's a certain nerve.
Male animals?
In male.
Animals that were sent by a male?
Okay, fine. You want to do that one? Okay. But others, not the ones that... Okay, no. Now, and not in females. Rabbi Eibschitz successfully disproved this contention by quoting a smag. He quoted a smag. This is a fascinating story. He quoted a smag that states explicitly that the prohibition of Gid Hanasha applies equally to both males and females, and thus negating the possibility of being a aforementioned nerve which is only present in males. The problem is it was a power. When the smag says a mitzvah, and the Chinuch does it many times, this mitzvah is noeg in males and not in females, or noeg for males and females. It's not talking about animals. Sefer mitzvahs is talking about people. This mitzvah is for males and not for females. And it was such a big rush that the Eibschitz should come up with a smag, and it says in the smag, this mitzvah is for males and for males and females.
By eating something.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense with the case.
Yeah, but what was he doing? Rabbi Eibschitz quoting from a smag when he means males and females means people, not animals, right? And he's saying this mitzvah is noeg in males and females. Okay. The statement of Yeshivas created a great deal of discussion among the later poskim. They commented that his reply to this menaker is apparently a blatant misunderstanding of the meaning of the smag. It's obviously a misunderstanding. For when a work such as the smag writes it applies to both male and females, the intent is both men and women are obligated to this commandment, unlike some commandments where women are exempt. Hence the reference to a male and female, it means humans, not animals. Like what was that all about? Indeed, the above incident is cited by some as an example that even the greatest of minds is vulnerable sometimes to make a mistake. It is. In 1930, a discovery was made by a rabbi from Los Angeles. This is a fascinating story that shed light on the problem and, in fact, changed the whole story. In an article published in a journal, Shari Tzion, Jubilee and Paradis, Reb Shlomo Michal Neches writes, in his possession is the Kresim Plesi, which is Rabbi Eibschitz, published in the lifetime of Rabbi Eibschitz, with many emendations and corrections. He went and he corrected, it looks like they belonged to him. Made by the author's own hand. Yeah, it was made by the author's own hand. In the above passage, the word smag is crossed out. It wasn't smag. And he wrote the word sahan, which is Sefer HaNikar. There was a Sefer called Sefer HaNikar as a total different Sefer. And which relates to Menachas, indeed states explicitly that the Gid Hanasha is both found in both male and female animals. Okay, listen carefully. In fact, conclusive Menachas, the phrase "it applies to both males and females" is not found in the smag. Pum, that one he did not write it even. So if you would have just looked it up, it wouldn't have. It would have. But everybody would just like going crazy on the faces. It's not found in the smag. In this discussion on Gid Hanasha, neither is in any reference to humans or animals. A clear proof that the latter word could never be in Rabbi Eibschitz's intent. And sometimes when you see things and you think it's wrong, it's just simply a printing mistake.
Oh wow.
And that's the whole.
You had so much simpler. We have to sing with.
V'ramel le'chaytai, V'ramel le'chaytai,